Hey, welcome back to Zay Reflections. Subscribe if you like what you hear. If you'd like to hear more, hit the bell so that you can get notifications when I post my next video. Um, Tonight I want to just be real brief. I want to talk about suffering and attachment. In Buddhist philosophy, one of the main themes is that we suffer because of our attachments. The things that we are attached to is what causes our suffering. And in Buddhist philosophy, the way we see suffering is by detaching from the things that we are attached to. Now, that might be somewhat of an oversimplification, but let me give an example. Let's say, you're about to make your last payment on your car that you have had for 5 years, and you're about to write that last check, send that last bill in, and your car's paid for. And you're looking forward to having the next few years of just having no car payments. Month after you pay your car off, this car that you love, the car that you have babied and cared for, and you changed the oil faithfully, you rotated the tires, you kept it clean, you did all the things that made that car work for you. Someone rear ends you, totaling your car, and you're heartbroken. One, because this was something that you were attached to. This was something that you really cared about, your car. And now it's gone. You got to go out and buy a new car, spend money maybe you had or didn't have, or you didn't want to spend on a car, but here you are. So you're going to go through a period of grieving, where you are grieving the loss of your car. And we suffer. We suffer grief when we lose a loved one and someone that we care about, a mother, a daughter, a son, a grandparent, because we are attached. We are emotionally attached, as we should be. Attachments, particularly when it comes to relationships, are a normal, healthy thing. I would be concerned if you had a relationship with someone that you were not attached to, that there was no emotional connect. So, divorce, a breakup, you're going to have those moments of sadness and pain and hurt, and it may take a while to detach, to heal, to recover. One of the things that I wanted to share is that one of the practices that will help us detach. And here's the thing. We are in no hurry to detach. Everyone grieves differently. Everyone goes through the process of loss differently. But at some point, we have to get to a place where the suffering comes to an end. The suffering is no longer this woe is me, life is miserable, I'm never going to recover thing. We cannot stay stuck there. Some people might spend years in that place, maybe even decades, still grieving over a significant loss, and that's understandable. But at some point, there comes this necessity to detach from the suffering so that we can live a free life, a life that's not burdened down by the loss. And one of the things that Nietzsche talked about was this whole idea, amore or amor fati, which means, it's Latin, and it means the love of fate. This loving what has occurred, embracing it. And when I first heard this, I didn't like it because I was going through some significant losses in a very short period of time. And I won't get into those losses now, but one involved my health, the loss of my mom, some other things that have occurred in the last few years that were very, very painful. And when I heard this concept of loving fate, loving what has been fated, or loving what has occurred in your life, I resisted it. I was like, no, I'm not loving this. There is no way I'm going to love this. This sucks. I don't like it. I don't want it. I want it out of my life. I want this. This should not have happened. Over a period of time, I began to think about my suffering and realizing I didn't want to suffer anymore. I needed to move on. I needed to find a way to be happy and joyful and learn from the experience, learn from the pain, because I believe that pain always, there's always gold in the suffering. There's always something that we learn or we discover about ourselves or life itself as we go through something that's been painful. But slowly I began to embrace this idea of loving what has occurred. Now, that doesn't mean that what has occurred was good. Maybe I can repackage it. Accepting what has occurred, allowing it to be. It is what it is. And I kind of liken it to the experience, whatever that is, being like clay. Being clay, something that the experience is the clay that's in our hands. And now we get to decide how we're going to shape this new adventure, if you will, in our lives. How am I going to take this loss and shape something out of it? How am I going to take this grief and design something out of it? Because I still have life to live. You still have life to live. And the thing that you're going through, I don't like to say it was meant to happen or there's a reason why it happened. I don't know about all that. But I will say this. There are things that come into our lives that we can either curse it and be mad and angry at the gods and angry at life itself, or we can take it and say, you know what, here I am. This is my pain. This is my wound. This is my loss. What will I shape out of this? What will I create out of this? It's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. We thought the phoenix was dead, but here it comes, rising from the ashes unto new life again. The things that we go through in life, everyone suffers, which is one reason why the Buddha wanted to understand it. He saw suffering in the world and he wanted to wrap his mind around it. What is the suffering all about? And there are some key lessons that he learned through suffering. He taught his disciples about suffering, learning to quiet the mind, learning to sit, learning to pause, learning to embrace, and in the words of Nietzsche, learning to love what has been fated, learning to acknowledge that this is what has come into my life. Now what will I do with it? Now I have an opportunity to live. You can rise from the ashes of your suffering, your pain, your loss, your grief. It is not the end of the story. It doesn't have to define your narrative. And as I have sort of come through some of the corridors of pain that I have walked through, I'm learning that I get to form and shape something out of this beautiful, out of this ugly thing that now I can turn into something beautiful for myself. And maybe my light can shine brighter as I've come out of the darkness and into something new. Amor Fati. Love what has been fated, or accept, embrace, allow what has been fated. What other choice do we have? We can beat it like a punching bag and scream and shout and yell and kick, and that might have its purpose for a moment or for a season, but it doesn't heal. At some point we accept, we embrace, we allow, we create. We create. We create. We create. We shape the clay into something that remains. I hope something I said speaks, encourages, and comforts. Peace and blessings.